Welcome to Two Gents, where two seasoned gents take on the hard truths of life, success, and responsibility. In a world where the rules don't bend for us, these gents believe in doing the work, owning the struggle, and inspiring others to take action. So, pull up a chair.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Two Gents Podcast. I'm your host, Ron Spikes. I see my pastor just came in, and we're about to get started. We got a full panel tonight. A full panel, Pastor. I see you. I'm glad we got a full panel because we got a lot to discuss tonight because we got a party that's in chaos. And I don't know if we have the ability to save it here, but we're gonna try to do everything that we can, and we're gonna discuss it tonight and see where we go with it. I like that tie, Pastor. I'm gonna have to, when I grow up, I'm gonna have to get me one of them ties like that because that's kind of special. So how you doing today, Pastor A.F. Riggins? I can't hear you, Pastor. Got to get your sound right. Okay. I got you. Yeah, I can't hear you, Pastor A.F. Riggins, so I'm going to go to glass while you get your sound right. BG, the man from Louisiana, the one and only, Byron Glass.
What's going on? I see A.F. Riggins out there smiling. He still ain't got my suit yet.
That's what we starting with tonight. That's what we starting with tonight, the suit. Hopefully that's not what we finish with. There's a lot of chaos going on in the Democratic Party out there. And I don't know if we can solve it, but we're gonna try to attempt to reach out and give them some pointers and help them move on. And hopefully they look at this show and they say, you know what? That made some sense. Because I was and go ahead, Glass.
I ain't got nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was looking at Roland Martin a little bit earlier. And Pastor, I want to ask this question. Well, Pastor, let me let you introduce. I ain't got no sound from you, Pastor. None. I got Glass. I see your thing is muted. Can you hear me, Glass? Pastor?
Yeah, I can.
I can't hear Pastor. That's the only one I can't hear.
Yeah, is he muted?
No, he's not. He's in control of his mute. I don't even see his thing making a sound on the air, so I don't know if it's your microphone or your connection in to the program. But
can't hear you, Pastor.
Yeah, we can't hear. He knows it. He's working on it. Yeah, he can hear us.
Okay.
He can hear us. There's something wrong with his mic. But Glass, I was listening to Roland Martin, and you know I love to hear other programs and know that we're on the right page. And one of the things that he brought up, and he said it like this, he said, you know, sometimes we're the best qualified candidate in the room. And I thought about you because when you go into a room and you're the best qualified candidate, you can behave a little bit different.
Yeah.
Because you got the knowledge to back yourself up. When somebody comes at you and they want to challenge your knowledge, you come back with something and you make them accountable for what they say. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if we cripple our kids sometime when we tell them to be quiet, listen to the program, listen to what they're saying, and don't speak up, don't make noise because you're disruptive. You gotta, in other words, you got a job, just hold on to it the best way you can. And don't be be afraid to walk out. I just want you to comment on that, Glass.
Well, Ron, I think you hitting on the head. You know, oftentimes we stimulate our kids by not letting them be kids. We don't teach them or we don't prepare them. You take a 5-year-old Caucasian kid that can get up in front of the class that's not afraid to speak. You can take a 7 or 8-year-old black kid that gets up in front of the class. You barely can't hear what they're saying. They're talking under their breath. So I think a lot of times we are ill prepared. Ron, I'm going to tell you this. I don't care what room I walk in. You're going to know that I'm there. Okay? And it's not flexing a muscle of any kind. It's not arrogance of any kind. But I'm going to know something about the subject matter. So when we start talking, I'm going to be able to talk the same language that you are. So to answer your question, I think for the most part, we cause, basically self-destruct.
Yeah, and when we do that, we make our kids lose confidence in themselves. And that's the
Right.
thing that you don't want to take away, because sometimes when you go to those, I heard he made an analogy to a child that was in a classroom and she made a drawing. Everybody else in his family agreed with the type of drawing that she made, and how it looked and everything like that. But this one particular teacher was telling her that it didn't make no sense. It wasn't going anywhere. And at an early age, if you hear that, and he said, notice the child's behavior start to change.
Yes.
And when the child's behavior starts to change, maybe we need to analyze that just a little bit more. We need to encourage our kids to speak up, to 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 know that they account for something, and know that they're worth know their worth going into a classroom. I can't stand a child that can't speak up and don't know their worth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think we gotta blame many of the adults. If you look at the home life, there are some nuts and bolts that are missing. If you look at the participation in school or school projects, school performances, they are stemmed by the lack of money, the lack of finances, so they can't participate in the speech squad, the beta club, student council, because it's already hard enough for them to get to school. So when they get involved in extracurricular activities, all you do is create another burden for that kid. Now, I've always believed that churches should be the backbone. Churches should have some type of fund. You already have the benevolent offering that's out there to help those who can't help themselves. So if you got a kid that's going to your church and this kid is smart, this kid is basically doing everything that his counterpart is doing. The only difference is he's basically hindered by money. Well, money should never be an issue when it comes to an individual's education. Money should never be an issue when it comes to the individual's success, because success should not be measured by the amount of money that you're making or bringing home or that you're spending. Success is about a whole lot of other things that would take us the entire show to explain.
And setting that groundwork. We always talk about the foundation. We talk how you build a house and the foundation. If you set that foundation strong, you don't have that problem. If you set that foundation to a point where that child is getting, and I'm gonna go back to the church on this reference, because that child that did speeches on in church for holidays. That child then came up, performed in little skits at the holidays, at holiday times, and you learn it. You teaching them that skill at an early age, and then when they get to school, if we're taking it away from them, there's something wrong with us.
Mhm.
There's something wrong with us. And I just can't, Glass. I want to put emphasis on that, because when I heard Roland Martin telling about all of his credentials and everything, and then when he went to these different organizations, he was telling the story how they basically told him that he wasn't all that. But when he started telling them, putting the information out about what he had done and where he had gone and everything, because he kept a record. You can't speak. You can't. It ain't nothing that you can say. But that might, we have to tell our kids to keep that mental knowledge. Don't ever give up on that mental knowledge. I done heard you get to a point sometime, and you say it and you mean it and you say it with conviction. I done earned where I'm at. I know my subject matter. I know how I got here. I know where I'm going, and I'm not gonna let anybody deter me. And I love that. I love hearing that. I love when Roland Martin did it. And the only person I thought about was you, Glass. I said, you know what? I got a brother that's out there, and he's saying the same thing. But I don't think that when we put that emphasis on our kids, that you're somebody. You're
Right.
somebody. You
You
need
are
to just come in
somebody.
this world to be a nobody. Anybody could be a nobody, but you need to realize that you're somebody, and you might have to work harder than anybody else. And I'm gonna tie that back to something else, and I'm gonna get your opinion. Then we're gonna kind of move on from there. Can you hear me, Glass?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I think you're exactly right, Ron. Again, I think every kid, when they leave home in the morning going to school, that the last words they hear, the last words they should hear is that you are somebody, from mom, dad, grandma, caretaker, guardian, whoever's got the custody and care of the child. You need to make sure that when they leave, that they know who they are, so when they get to school, they won't be defined who they are by somebody else who's trying to maybe lure them in or get them to do things that they know that they should not do. Ron, again, you've heard me say over and over and over, I don't need nobody to help me go off the cliff. I need somebody to help me from going off the cliff. And my point is that it's easy to do the wrong thing, but it's a
It
hell
is.
of a lot harder to do the right thing. So I need somebody to help me do the right thing.
Hey, Alf Riggins, can I hear you now? Can you say something?
That's right. Is. Can you hear me?
Hey man, we can hear you loud
Yeah.
and clear. I'm glad my
Well,
brother's
yeah,
on today.
I'm about to take the laptop back into the laptop is not, the microphone not working. I'll get that checked out. So I'm using my cell phone now.
Well, I appreciate it, Pastor. What we've been talking about, and since you're a school teacher, we were engaging in conversations about our kids and trying to get them to understand their net worth. I don't know if you saw the show that Roland Martin did about how his progress through the newspaper and different places that he went, and they was telling him that he wasn't qualified, or they was trying to discredit what he had did, and he pulled out the facts and showed them. So I just and I think our kids sometimes we don't back them enough to just give them the encouragement. And I made reference to being in the church, doing Easter speeches and stuff like that, just trying to get them up to where they can talk and stand on their own. But it's another aspect of this. I just want to get your opinion on what I just got through saying, because it's another aspect that I want to tie into this, and I know you can go there.
Yeah. Our students or our young people have the mentality of a consumer rather than an investor. And
Mm,
what I mean is, whatever they're selling to them,
mm,
games, clothes, footwear, tattoos, jewelry, a culture that they're consuming all this, but don't understand that you got to invest in life. And the way you
mhm,
invest is you got to get involved.
mhm,
And one of the first ways to get involved is you got to be able to know how to speak up for yourself, know how to represent yourself, know how to get up and talk and say, this is who I am, this is what I believe in, this is where I'm going in my life. So that's the first thing. They can learn how to become an investor, investing in their own present day situation and in their future, rather than just consuming, taking, and thinking they're entitled. And so that that they don't understand that they need to be able to speak for themselves. By the time they figure it out, sometimes it's too late. They're speaking
mhm,
for themselves in front of a judge trying to get out of trouble, or they're speaking for themselves, in a situation where they're trying to, make ends meet, at the workforce solutions place or something. So the younger that young people need to know, like you said, in church, I was 6 years old, had me in front of the church. That didn't mean I was going to become a preacher. I didn't want to be a preacher, but I ended up being one. But they'll have me saying stuff, doing the high points, as they call it, or the highlights for the Sunday school lesson. Me and a bunch of other kids. Out of all those kids, all of them didn't become preachers, but they got exposed to talking in front of audiences. Like you said, Christmas and Easter, having those, what you call, resolutions, or the speeches they made, that's exposing them to talking in front of crowds. I remember my brother decided to run for student, what you at school you call it, the student government, or
student council.
student council. He run for president of student council. There's a popular football player, athlete, um, honor roll student, Anglo American, who was in my grade, and my brother was in one grade behind him. Now, what I became, this was projecting my future, because I later um, end up majoring in public relations. I started out in
Mhm,
accounting in college, but I couldn't do all the math classes, even though I knew how to do accounting. But that day, I was my brother's campaign manager. I went out and got all the African American students and said, my brother's running for student council president.
mhm,
I hyped the crowd. My brother got up, and the young man made a speech. Well, he said my brother make a speech first because he was younger. When my brother made this speech, he was, on point. I was hyping the crowd and everything. My brother already accepted his call to the pulpit ministry, so he's almost like preaching a sermon, but using politics.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a pastor right now in Baton Rouge, building a $2 million building, debt free. But anyway, that's a sidebar. So I hyped the crowd, and my brother actually won. He beat this popular guy who was 1 year older than him, who was at the time, I think, senior, and my brother was a junior, or might have been a sophomore, and beat him out for the president, and because he knew how to get up and talk in front of a crowd. We've been doing it at church and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went on to Boys State. I don't know, there's this thing called Boys State and Girls State, where they would take the best of the cream and crop of every school, and it was something similar to what happened at that camp down there in San Antonio. In San Antonio, they would send these teenagers to a camp for a whole week, and they was learning about politics, about life, about all kind of stuff. My brother ended up going down to that because of that. But I'm just saying, we have to start off young, investing in and speaking for who we are and what we believe in, whether it's politically, whether it's socially, whether it's culturally, or whatever it might be. And I don't think our young people are doing that today.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing it today either, Pastor. And here's the thing. The title of our show is America is in Chaos. Are
Yes,
we
sir.
moving forward or are we moving backwards? And in the background, it has something about is Jim Crow still in effect or something like that in the picture. And that ties back to what it kind of ties back to everything that we're saying. And I'm going to do a modern day. I'm going to give you an example because I kind of tied that back to this. You can have all the qualifications. You can be the best person in wherever you at, and they gonna still hold you down. They're gonna do everything that they possibly can to just hold you down. And the real reason why I tied that back to Jim Crow is this: is as I look at Shedeur Sanders, his father then invested a lot of money into him. He didn't talk to probably more professional football players by being a Sanders and it's in the investment that he put into his child. And it just lets you know that we haven't came too far because they set his child up for failure on this past Sunday. They put him in with like the 4-string line that people was they gonna cut on Monday, and they set him up for failure. Then they want to critique his actions when they give somebody else a fair shot. And that's the way life is. Life in America is basically like that because they want to critique your actions, but then you're not on the same level or stage or have the same money as the person that you're probably running against. That's the same thing. And I'm gonna go ahead, Pastor. I'm gonna let you comment, and then I want to say one last thing, and then we're gonna get into this all together.
No. Shedeur, let me see what they did with Shedeur. First of all, the greatest inequality in America, in African Americans and Anglo Americans, is economics. Jesse Jackson caught on to that. Before Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, he was doing the poor man's campaign. Bishop William Barber, out of Vermont or somewhere on the East Coast, I never heard of him. He's always pushing about the poor man's campaign, right? So Deion Sanders defied that. He got paid $35 million in 1995 by the Dallas Cowboys. The highest paid non-quarterback at the time, right?
Correct.
From the primetime image, from his ongoing persona, he kept building on his capital and building on his wealth. So when he invested in his sons, Shedeur and Shallow, and brought them along with him in his college coaching days. If you notice, Travis Hunter was also coached by Deion Sanders and plays like him, both sides of the ball and all this stuff, right? They had no problem with him winning the Heisman. They had no problem with him being the second overall draft pick. The problem with Shedeur Sanders is that he was Deion's son, and how can you have this rich a black man who know confident in who he is come in here and tell us how he wanted his son to be drafted. It was all about fighting against Deion Sanders, right? So
Right.
they put him on fourth string the whole practice season. Fourth string, fourth string, fourth string, fourth string, fourth string. Watch this. First game of the preseason, they're going to throw him out there with the first string that he never practiced with. And he shows out. Shows out. Then he gets hurt for the second game. And he can't play. So what they say, okay, listen here. Let's go back to the Bible. When Moses says, hey, Pharaoh, let my people go. They said, no. Y'all going to work, but now we're going to take away the straw. You're going to make the brick, but now you got to do it without the straw. They said, oh, he did so well. He fooled everybody. It was the highest watched preseason game of all time. Shadur Shannon showed him why he shouldn't be the fifth round pick, 144 pick, all this kind of crazy stuff, right? So now they say we're gonna throw him in the game with the least amount of information and the least amount of people that can work for him. And like you say, try to embarrass him. Because he had already proven that y'all picked me fifth round, y'all should have picked me in the first round. Now he's still on that roster, right?
As of today.
Oh yeah, because they had to cut the 53 yesterday or today. So listen, Joe Flacco is not gonna make the whole season. Just by age and exposure, getting hurt and hit. So it's gonna end up being between that guy, Gabriel.
Gabriel is his name. Yeah.
Right. And the Shadur said it's gonna end up being but the point of it is that they're trying to make him prove himself in spite of himself, because they're saying you're rich. That's how I look at it. I'm one man's opinion.
Say it.
You're rich African American. You know, your daddy is flamboyant and confident. And now Deion Sanders, he went from being that to confident and speaking about spiritual things all the time too. That just really flipped their mind. Like, you know, he lived a life where he was kind of on the edge at first, and now he switches his life all the way around and want to pour into young men and all that stuff. And so to me, the system says we're gonna make you look like you're a dummy, because we're really the dummies. We're waiting fifth round to pick you. That's how I look at it.
You know what, Pastor? You made a lot of points in there, and a lot of people say, "Well, y'all a political show." Let me try to tie this back to where we go, where I'm going, where we kind of headed the direction. See, you need to understand the basics. You need to understand the suffering of what other people have went through before you can kind of get to a point where you can tie it into what's going on today. See, everything that I've been discussing, everything that we've been discussing is about confident individuals that know where they're coming from. They know what they're talking about. They can back it up when you ask them questions. And the real reason why I set this up like this is because here's a young lady. She came out of college. She was a lawyer. She read law. She understood law. She did everything that she could. She got elected into Congress, but she wasn't that stereotypical person that sit there and didn't take anything. She backed herself up with facts. And if you don't know who I'm talking about Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett, you say what you want to say about her, and say how you want to say it. But when you come at her, she's gonna support herself with facts. And she didn't just roll into the position. Evidently, she did some studying. She invested some time into law. She understands a whole lot about history. But here's the deal. Her party, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to name a name. David Hodge wants to primary her because he don't like what she's saying. Her party can't get with her because she comes out with facts. They can't support her, but they want to primary her. And the whole, I hold it, Pastor. I see you fired up for this one. But the whole thing behind everything that's going on out there is that if we're in this thing and we're not trying to elect Democrats into office, we might as well just give up. And James Carville said the same thing. How can you take $20 million of your money and invest it into somebody because you don't, or try to get them primary because you don't like how they run in their campaign? And that's the same thing for AOC. Anybody that speaks up, and I'm gonna let you come in, Pastor, because I know I said a lot that triggered you, but just help me understand why we're going down this path. If we ain't trying to get Republicans out of office at all costs, not at the cost of people that's doing their job, it's something wrong with us.
Well, first of all, what are you in politics for? Who's the guy named David Hodge, you say?
David Hodge, he's the Democratic assistant, Democratic assistant something. He's not getting paid, but he's in charge of how they spend their money, how they delegate money and funds. But he wants primary people that the Democrat Party don't like. And I can't understand that.
Right. What they're trying to say is, and here you go, here's either going to be fight or flight. Hodge is put in a flight position. What I mean is, he's saying she's so radical, let's go find somebody more mainstream down the middle, because we're afraid that she's so radical that she's keeping the MAGA stirred up and keeping the Heritage Foundation stirred up. We want to quieten ourselves down and be quiet and try to see if we can get the middle, control from the middle, instead of saying we got to come in guns blasting. And so he's coming with a defensive mechanism, flight instead of fight. It ain't time for flight. It's not time to run now. It's time to square your up and fight.
Yeah,
and,
so James Conrad,
Crockett came to fight. Now, I know we're getting ready to slide into it, Ron. Didn't I tell y'all in April that martial law was coming? Didn't I say in April martial law was coming, right? But the way Trump does things, you have to understand this. He's not going to call it martial law. He calls it federal policing. Okay? We tried it in California. California's suing about it when he sent the National Guard. He's now doing it in Washington, D.C. His next target is Chicago. And then he wants to go to every Democratic big city. Houston's gonna be in there after a while. Only why Houston might not get it because of the fact that the governor of Texas is a Republican. But if the governor of Texas says Harris County is getting in problems, then he's gonna come in here with it. On everywhere and taking the federal troops and making them come on against his own country like he's trying to police. But it's all martial law. It's all martial law.
And I don't care. Pastor been saying this for so long. Just listen to what he's been saying. And he's telling the truth. It's something that Trump is trying to set up. So when he's in office, and if we don't question it, if we don't get the word out and we don't get the mainstream out, and then we have people on the same party trying to destroy people that's got a voice.
Right.
A voice. AOC is another one.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to discredit the guy that just got elected in New York.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna take this one step further. Now, Pastor, I'm gonna let you comment and finish your comment because I want to kind of break this down where people can truly understand what's going on out there, and we have to be aware. That's our job. We're gonna put the information out and let you make your own decision on how you decide to handle the information from there. And that's what we're doing here.
I'm gonna tell the audience this: if you're in a battle, let's say in the military battle, and we're all on the same side, but accidentally you get shot in the back from one of your own people trying to shoot across, it's called hit by friendly fire. The problem of it is you got people like this Hodge guy and other people not accidentally doing it. They're purposely shooting their own people in the back. I don't mean violence. I'm not talking about violence. I'm not talking about real guns. I'm talking about when you come from the backside and say we want to primary our own people against our own people. That's the kind of craziness that Trump tried to do to his people when they don't do what he wanted them to do. Well, we're going to use that same tactic that we want to shut Jasmine Crockett up. We want to set Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, SAOC. That's what it stands for.
I'm glad you got it. It's gonna be
I
AOC
start.
to me for a while.
Right. We're gonna shut her up. We're gonna use friendly fire. We're gonna come from the backside and primary her and put somebody else out there to represent us, all because we rather run, flight, instead of stand there and fight. So that's what's going on right now.
And that's part of the part that I'm talking about. Are we moving forward? Or are we moving backwards? Because James Carville, he said, you know what?
Now, let the audience know who James Carville is. James Carville is a Democratic strategist, just a genius. That how he became popular is because in 1992, this upstart governor out of New York, out of Hope, Arkansas. I'm sorry, upstart governor out of Hope, Arkansas. James Carville ran his campaign, and that governor is Bill Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
James Carville from LSU, and let me say something else. His wife is a Republican. She ran George W. Bush campaign against Al Gore.
Mm-hmm.
And every time they come out, she been on the Republican side, he been on the Democratic side. And James Carville was one of the strategists behind the scenes that pulled a lot of strings that helped Obama win and Biden win. And he had it right on Kamala Harris. And I believe, I'm telling you all, it might take months, it might take years. You're gonna find out that Kamala Harris did not lose that election.
I'm not going to disagree with you with everything that's going on,
right.
Pastor. And here,
that Trump says out loud, they stole the election from me. They stole the election from me, 2020. When he keeps saying that over and over, because he's in the business of doing that, 2016 and 2024. He just didn't. What happened was he was so mad. Christopher Wray and the guy that was over the FBI at the time, and then another guy who was over the elections commission, who were Republicans, made sure that the election was fair and just, and it showed out that Trump really lost. And he had those guys to resign and all kind of stuff. Even Bill Barr resigned because he said, I'm not going to go down this road with Trump saying the election was stolen, who was his attorney general. So I'm telling you, I hate to say it, please keep voting. Please keep it, get involved. But that's why you have to overwhelm them so much that even if they try to steal it, they don't have the room to steal it. This is by hook or crook now. Mm-hmm. I know I went off on a tangent, but I'm telling you, it's chaos because Trump creates chaos, and then in the middle of chaos, he does all kind of crazy stuff. The Bible says, I'm going to go bearing glass now. The Bible says God's not the author of confusion. And I'm a pastor, bearing glass, I always bring this up. And what he means is, what's the opposite? If God's not the author of confusion, who is the author of confusion? The devil is. Mm-hmm. And so that means that we're not calling him the devil because the devil is a spirit, but the whole mentality, the whole modus operandus, the way he operates, all of his motives and everything is all of evil, criminal, and may I say racist intent.
Yeah. We have to, Byron Glass probably had to do something. He probably got a call that he had to take care of. And like I say, and we constantly say, we can't pay nobody's bill, but we can talk about what's wrong in the United States of America, what we see from our perspective. And we want you to get that objective. As I listen to Pastor Riggins, he made some key points that we have been doing. We have been going through and talking about over and over and over. I want to say hi to Positive D. Thanks for listening in today. I know I didn't get a lot of comments out there, but Pastor, I see you raise your hand. You got something you want to say?
No, I was just waving back at her. Just
D, thank you. I appreciate you listening in. I appreciate you because if we don't do this, It's not making it to the other side. They want us to give up. They want us to just say, "Oh no, it's all right." Don't say nothing. Teach our kids to be quiet. Get everybody in Congress and the House to just be quiet. We need to tell them, speak up, hold your peace. That's the only way that you're going to encourage people to get out and vote. And we need to encourage our people, because Pastor just got through saying that, and I was going to bring it up. We have to vote. We have to vote. We have to vote. I don't care. You should be talking right now about voting. If you're not talking about voting, don't tell them who to vote for. Just tell them to get out and vote. We got to change this cycle, because in the end, what Glass said is true. And if we don't get this one, it's gonna be a long time before we get. And I'm gonna keep on saying that. Glass has his own special way of saying that, but I need, me and Pastor, we support it, because we see it. We listen. Pastor listens to other sources. I listen to sources. And sometimes we take those sources and we share them in between each other during the week. And we both listen to it. And we that's how we formulate our opinion. And both of us, all of us research, because we don't just want to get on here and just put out stuff and not have you go back and be able to back it up.
Yeah. Yes. You have to keep researching. You have to keep your ear to the ground. And you have to keep on looking for the truth. The truth is always hidden somewhere in the middle of all the lies. The truth is always hidden somewhere in the middle of all the lies. And politics is crazy. Politics can be dirty. Politics can be jarring too. Like, to say, wow, we have to deal with all this. And how are they getting away with this? And why are they making this kind of move? And so in politics, you got to stay 2 steps ahead of the opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Democrats don't never stay. They're not playing chess. Chess means you trying to look to get the king, right? Mm-hmm. They're playing checkers. They're trying to say how many little red and black things I can collect right in today. No. You trying to make one move at a time. Make one move at a time to get to where we're going. And that's what played real good in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Clinton played chess real good. Al Gore didn't. Okay? John Kerry did chess real good. Obama did. Clinton, even though I believe the election was stolen, Clinton set herself up for that because she felt like she was entitled. She felt like she was entitled. Once again, to get into the election and to become the president, Joe Biden played chess pretty good. Once he got the presidency, he went to playing checkers. Because you got to look at it and say, okay, all of a sudden, I'm sick now. I'm sick. I know I'm sick. Nobody else knows I'm sick. I'm dealing with some form of cancer. I got onset a little bit of dementia. I'm in my late 70s. I'm sick now. I've got to ease off the scene. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure I don't run so that the Democratic Party can foster a good crop of people to be able to take my place. But no, you want to play checkers. You want to, for the moment, you want to keep the power. For the moment, you want to be to say, you want to be kingmaker or you want to be queen maker. Because even before he even picked Kamala Harris, they said, can you be president? Can you win? Can you do it? What he says, yes, I can. And plus, and she's prepared for it too. He was already pointing to the fact that if he won, he might not make it the whole term, but she was going to be ready. He's trying to be queen maker. You can't do that. You can't do that. And that's what we end up doing. 91 days before before we got the election, he made her the queen, raised $1 billion, and we lost because the conditions were right for it to be stolen. And he knew it. He didn't say nothing that she didn't concede right away. There was some backroom arguing and fussing going on. Hey, you got to come out and fight for me. You know this election was stolen. No, I can't do it. They caught me flat-footed. I'm sick. I'm this. I'm that. I tried. I couldn't get it done. Kid, he calls a kid. I couldn't get it done, kid. I'm just making up what's been said in the back room. He didn't play chess. He played checkers. Meanwhile, not Trump. Trump is just the face of it. The Heritage Foundation been playing chess all along. Project 2025 is in full effect right now. I'm gonna quit talking.
No, don't quit talking because you made so many points. You got me making notes over here. As I listen to you talk, and I'm gonna tell you how on point you was, because James Carneville said the same thing. He said, you know what? As we look at this election cycle, there's a couple of questions I wanna ask the Democratic Party. He said, y'all raised $1 billion. $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
He said, and now the party's talking about they broke. He asked this young guy. This young guy is, I think he said, 29 or 30 years old. He said, James Carneville said, have y'all did an after action report to see what happened to that money that y'all raised? He said, because at $1 billion, y'all could have got every media outlet out there, and whatever it took to get at $1 billion. He said, y'all didn't just raise millions and millions, that we raised millions to get Trump. And it might have been a different time, but he said with $1 billion, somebody should be accountable if Trump still won after that.
Mm-hmm.
He's making good points. But then this guy, and at the same time, the guy was going back in the conversation and he was saying, well, we need to get rid of some of the people that are out there that but didn't vote all the way with the Democratic Party. I'm like, if they're carrying the party in those states where you're at, what's the problem? And I want to say one more thing, and then Pastor, I want you to chime in because I know this is going to be right up your alley. If you're raising X amount of money right now, if you're raising over millions, 20 million, I think that's what you say, to primary somebody and primary people that you don't like in the Democratic Party, why don't you take that money and spend it into states that you know that you don't have a tie into, but you could take that money and spend it in those states because you already got those people tied up, but you just don't like what they're saying.
Yeah. See, man, let me tell you what. Everybody got their own personal agenda. You have your own personal agenda. You're not working for the whole. When I say whole, WHOLE, you're not working for the better of everybody. And a lot of these people have their own personal agenda. And the Democratic Party is full of those type of people. The Republicans gonna stick together whether they're wrong or right. They're gonna MAGA all the way down to the end, wrong as two.
Yes, sir.
They're gonna stick together, wrong or right. Democrats have a bunch of people trying to think right, but going about it wrong. We divide and conquer. We jockeying for positions. We're looking for craziness sometimes. Then we're looking for I want to be too quiet. We don't have our stuff together. Democrats, get your stuff together. Now, if I wasn't a godly man and out in the streets, it's another word that started S right there. Get your stuff together.
Amen. And Pastor, I can't disagree with you, but here's the things that we can fight for. And I want to make sure I get this right. 2025 cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, effective after the midterm elections that will cause hospital closures, increase premiums, increase unemployment, affecting rural areas in a major way.
Yeah.
If you voted for Trump and you live in a rural area, you basically voted against yourself.
Yeah.
But the but here's the problem. Nobody's putting their message out there. Yeah. Nobody's putting their message. We got too much. It's a lot of infighting going on. You're trying to primary somebody when you should be buying some literature to show that information, because after 2026 election, things gonna change.
Yeah, see, here's what happened. They set it up that you don't see the effects of it after 2026, so you can't blame it on Trump. But here's the problem. If we win, we've got to win with such numbers that we pass laws to reverse what he passed. But also, you got to have it that enough of people can override a veto. Because you got to have 67% of the Senate to override a veto. So that's why they always try to win with 67%, 67 members, because why? If Trump vetoes that bill, the Senate can come back and override that veto.
Mm-hmm.
We should never got into this situation.
Mm-hmm. We should have never been here. And here's something else, Pastor. I'm gonna put it out there as it comes up. 2025 prevents undocumented children from attending school, even though they're undocumented working parents pay taxes, Social Security and Medicaid, but do not benefit from those programs. You know,
Yeah.
if you look at this, a lot of people, there's more people paying in Social Security and Medicaid that's not getting the benefits out of it. And but we want to just take their kids out of the school system, but they paying into the tax system. Go ahead,
Greed, grab, greed, take, and then throw them to the wolves.
Mm-hmm.
Take their money, throw them to the wolves. Take their money, deportate them. Like that man that they mistakenly deported,
Mm-hmm.
and then it made him come. The judge made him come back.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've just made up stuff on him as a way of like, you're not gonna win, fella. We wrong. We know we're wrong, but we got the power.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna send you to Uganda. What in the heck does he have to do with Uganda?
Mm-hmm.
Or Costa Rica somewhere? We're gonna send you away. And the judge stopped that part now. That's craziness, brother. That's craziness. And then they got this a big old drug bust they had, and this guy who they said was running with Guzman with Chapo, right?
Yeah.
And so Pam Bundy and all them up there talking about it, right? Pay attention to the fine print. They trying the guy, but guess who arrested him? He got arrested last year. See, the problem of it is with the Democrats is this, and this is why I became an independent. But if I ever was running the politics, I'm caucusing with the Democrats. But I'm not gonna be quiet. If I arrested him last year, Joe Biden, tell the whole world you arrested him. Because guess who's trying to take the Trump take the glory for it? Guess who's trying to take the say they the one done it? Trump and them act like they're the ones that got it, but yeah, they the one prosecuting him now, putting the sins on him, all that kind of stuff. But they said the man was arrested last year. Trump only became in office this year.
Absolutely. And Pastor, I just want, because there's so many things that can challenge stuff that's out there that we have ability to do it. Birthright citizenship. I mean, ain't that constitutional?
Yes, sir. 14th Amendment.
If you're born in the if you're here in the United States and you were born on the shores of the United States, Sidney Poitier is a good example of that. He was born on the shores of the United States. That's how he got his citizenship. He wasn't a robber. He didn't go on. He became a productive citizen.
Yeah.
So they challenged him birthright citizenship. That's something else.
And the Supreme Court is allowing it to happen right now by upholding Trump's executive order until they can review it later to make a ruling. It's almost like they gave him like, okay, long as we trying to rule on it, you can keep doing what you want to do until we make a ruling one way or another. That's craziness.
Even the way ICE is enforcing the their policies and procedures right now is totally
right.
It would be unconstitutional for anybody if the way that they're going about enforcing immigration, it's not fair. It's not. I mean, you're here. What gives you the right to just treat me like? You might as well say they're treating them like slaves at this point, because that's exactly what they're doing.
No,
and eventually,
most important is this. That's what I tell you. It's about racism and classism. They're being treated like second and third class citizens. This is what Hitler did. Hitler made the Jews second and third class citizens.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that, it snowballed into putting them on trains to go down to camps. It's supposed to be work camps. But the work camps had all those incinerators, gas chambers, and all that. And all it was trying to do was exterminate them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all Trump is trying to do he's trying to get them out the country. Put them away. Put them away. That's his form of extermination. Put them away. And it starts with what he calls MS-13s, what he calls all these illegal guys out of El Salvador, San Salvador, and all that. That's where he starts at. He starts way out there, but he's coming to the living room close to you. He's coming to your living room next.
And the problem with that, Pastor, before I go into this next one, because I think I missed something. And if you don't think that he's going to pull those young men out of prison to go out there and work them fields because they can't, the migrants are gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's something wrong with you,
Mm-hmm.
because he wants to go out there in Louisiana and Byron State. They want to pay somebody $11 an hour to work 13 to 14 hours in the field, and our kids are saying, "What? There's something crazy about that. We ain't doing that. Our kids ain't doing that. I don't
Right.
care. I mean, most kids are not doing that for $11 an hour.
Right.
But you didn't think about that before you start implementing these policies and procedures. It wasn't on your agenda. So now you got to deal with the repercussions, and we're gonna pay for it. We haven't started paying yet, but we're gonna pay for what he has done because it's coming. It's coming to us front and center. You ain't gonna make it on this earth without eating food.
And then he go around saying, "Hey, let's take all the stuff about slavery out the museums." Really?
Mm.
Really? He wants to take all the stuff about slavery out the museum. Look, you can't whitewash. You can't whitewash and pardon the pun, because I'm saying whitewash, but you can't
Mhm.
whitewash history. Remember his story. So African American Museum, all of the museums that have his story, our story in it, it needs to stay there.
Absolutely. You know one more thing, Pastor, and I went past it, and I didn't want to go past it because I highlighted it, and I know that the most prejudiced president that there ever was out there, he's from Texas, Lyndon Baines Johnson. But here's what Lyndon
No,
Baines
no, hold
Johnson
on.
did.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. That's in modern times because I'm gonna show you
Yeah,
something
let me
about
let me just
modern.
finish this.
Yes, sir.
In 1965, Lyndon Baines recognized that war on poverty in 1964, the federal government recognized the need to address educational disparities among children from disadvantaged backgrounds. Head Start,
Yeah,
that the program that we have in effect now,
yeah,
came from Johnson. And
yeah.
I know I'm talking to a historian, so he's
Yes,
going
sir.
to tie some stuff back together. But that was just one of the things that I recognized, that if a person could see it in their heart to feed somebody even back then, why is and I'm gonna say it, why is this devil, he can't see that kids need to eat, kids need to have an advantage, have get an opportunity to succeed at an early age. Go ahead, Pastor.
No, but it's not on him. It's the Heritage Foundation. What they want to say is, listen, everything that profits or helps or assists people of color, let's shut it down. That's part of Project 2025. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Johnson was the most prejudiced president of the modern time, but guess what? That's how you know God was working with Martin Luther King Jr. Who signed the Civil Rights Act? Lyndon B. Johnson. Who
Mm-hmm.
signed the Voting Rights Act? Lyndon B. Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
He converted Lyndon B. Johnson. Even to the point when he saw the dogs and the water hoses, he kind of made a national speech, and at the end of the speech he says, "And we shall overcome."
Mm-hmm.
Now, the most prejudiced president of all time is Andrew Jackson.
Mm.
And guess who his protege is? He took down pictures of Obama and put it in the closet somewhere. He took down pictures of George W. Bush, put it in the closet somewhere. And he put the biggest picture he ever could in his office of Andrew Jackson, Donald J. Trump.
Mm.
He's in the first presidency, he's doing the second presidency. Andrew Jackson is known for this is the beginning of the Civil War. Let me tell you two things he did. First of all, he did was shut down the National Bank. He had a war on the National Bank.
Federal Reserve.
The federal the head of the National Bank was Mr. Biddle.
Mm-hmm.
And he called it Mr. Biddle's Bank. Because he wanted to control, just like right now, Trump wants to control what's going on. He's trying to fire that African American woman.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that as soon as you finish.
He wants to get rid of Jerome, the guy that's over at the Fed Reserve, all that stuff. Has this war because we can create chaos about the money and the economic. And so then you had the panic of 1837. You had the panic of 1837 because the banks failed because of Andrew Jackson. Watch this. Furthermore, around the same time, in Florida, he took all the land away from the Seminoles, the Cherokee,
Mm.
Chickasaw, Blackfeet, and sent them all the way to Oklahoma to a reservation called the Trail of Tears. 16,000 Native Americans marching in the cold in the dead of winter. 4,000 of them died along the way. The Trail of Tears. Furthermore, John C. Calhoun was a senator from South Carolina, where Jackson was from, and they fought about the fact of states' rights. What was states' rights about? States had a right to uphold slavery rather than the national government tell them not to have slavery, which eventually led to the Civil War. The most prejudiced president of all time, Andrew Jackson, and his protege, who says Andrew Jackson is hero. And let me even to a microcosm, and I'm gonna let him stop talking. In Trump's first presidency, there was a move about to take Andrew Jackson off the $20 bill. And who were they gonna put on the $20 bill? Harry Tubman. It had already been passed to take care of doing Obama's, it'd been set up during Obama's time. The Harry Tubman was going on a $20 bill. Trump nixed that. Because why take my hero off the $20 bill to put an African-American freedom rider, Black Moses, on it? I digress.
You know, Pastor, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to eventually get to that point with what you just made about the Black FDIC woman. I think her last name is Cook.
Yeah, right.
You know, they said that she got caught up in that mortgage fraud. I had this discussion earlier, and I had to research because somebody challenged me on it. So I went out there and researched it. And every news media channel out there have her listed for mortgage fraud. Mortgage fraud. It's something that she did wrong, or they made a big issue of it. But
that's
if you
like
go
she bought a house somewhere else and said it was a homestead in one state, but sitting at another homestead in another state, so you can't have two homesteads. All this kind of craziness.
Yeah, they said that, but when I researched it, this is what I found out. She had a condo that she had. Then she had another house in Michigan, I think it was. Mm-hmm. She had both of them, but she got the primary rate. Listen to how minute this is. She got the primary rate. She got a lower rate on both of them because somehow her paperwork may have got confused or something like that, where one was her primary, and she probably just didn't read the paperwork, but she got a good rate. It's not like she's not paying for the property. It's not like she filing bankruptcy on the property. It's not like she using the procedures of everybody else to get over on the system. She paying for the property. She paying her taxes. She paying her bills. She paying everything. She just got a better rate. But you call it mortgage fraud. Now you got a man that's residing in the White House over the United States that's guilty, been charged. But you're going to hold her accountable because this is the thing, Pastor. How can they go back? How much research does it take to go back in a person's history and find something that minute? And that's the only thing that you found that this lady had done wrong. How can you justify that? And I lost Pastor. Now, he must have lost his internet connection. I hope he calls back in because that was my question. I mean, if you think about it and you go out and you do your research, and as you do your research, you'll find that to be true. This lady, I mean, now I'm gonna be honest with you. I took the headline and I ran with it. I'm waiting on Pastor Riggins to come back in. I took the headline that she committed mortgage fraud. But how could she commit mortgage fraud? You know, if you ever bought a house or you did anything with a house or any piece of property, they bring out a lot of forms for you to sign. So what if you just didn't dot your I across your T and you just let it go through because you already got a piece of property, you went through this before, and depending on what your timing is, you're just trying to get the thing correct. I don't know why, and I'm gonna say this again. I know my voice cracking, but I don't know why we put in headlines mortgage fraud. And that, just think about it. If you hear mortgage fraud, you thinking, well, she did something wrong. She did something that normal people wouldn't have did. But if they would have just came out and told the truth about, we see that she has two houses. They talking about homestead exemptions and all the rest. I know that homestead exemptions, I don't think she filed, because I couldn't find it in there, but filing 2 homestead exemptions, I don't care what state you're in. Yeah, you didn't commit mortgage fraud, but you are defrauding somebody from the taxes that they would normally commit, because they give you a portion of your taxes are not written off, but that's what the county or whatever parish that you stay in, they allow you to have those homesteads and decrease the amount of taxes. That's not what she was doing. She got a better APR for the house that she had and the condo that she had. But instead of them doing the clarification like that, they wrote it up in the big headlines because our president was trying to get rid of them. I'm looking at this, and we just lost Instagram, and I hope Pastor is able to get back in, because I lost Byron Glass and Pastor, and I don't know if it was something that happened. Sometimes when life happens, you got to be able to go on. And you know what? One thing about me, I prepare for situations like this. You have to stay prepared, because I got some stuff that I had this prepared last week. But if you notice our conversation, it never did go there. We never got to this point where we had to do that. And I can bring some stuff up, because we need to know the reason why we're having these discussions out here, and we need to know why we're doing this. And I don't have Pastor to bounce off of, so I gotta go somewhere else with this, because we're here to educate. And sometimes you got to know what midterm elections represent. Midterm elections occur every 4 years, halfway through the president's term, determining the control of Congress, state, and governorships. They offer voters a chance to express approval or disapproval. What we constantly tell you is that we want you to get out there and vote. We want you to have a voice. A voice. And when you flip to the other side, historically, I'm gonna tell you, I agree with him. Historically, the president's party often loses seats, indicating that the potential shift in power. Examples can be seen in 2022. The Democrats lost the House, and in 2018, the Republicans lost it. So those kind of things, those examples exist. But remember, I want you to always remember that we're living in the times of Trump. What happened then doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen in the midterms to come up. And we need to be prepared for that. And that's the reason why we always encourage you to vote. And that's the reason why we tell you, I told you about people like this Cook lady, where they was putting out that information, but they wasn't following through. And the information made it seem like she was so wrong in what she did and how she went about doing. She didn't try to circumvent the law. I'm sorry, I didn't say the word right, but she didn't try to circumvent the law. It's something that happened that got her to that point. I'm gonna continue going on. Key factors influencing the 2026 elections. That goes back to what we were saying earlier. If your own party is trying to primary certain people within your party that's won the election cycle or probably been carrying the election cycle as a Democrat, why are you gonna go out there and put money against this person because you don't like what they're saying? That influences the election also. And I'm not and don't get me wrong when I say this, every party does the same exact thing. Every party does the same exact thing. Approval rates. How can you get the approval rates of Democrats when you're out there infighting within your own party? Abortion rights could be something that we could jump in on. A woman has the right to her own body. We shouldn't be involved in that. Climate policy and social issues can generate voters. We should be focusing on stuff that's out there that we mentioned a couple earlier. The ICE enforcement, the Supreme Court allowing citizens to be deported, the Secondary Educational Act. There's so much stuff that's going on in 2025 that we could hold our hats on. We can't let this one-party system destroy where we're at. One party has just taken over everything that deals with government. Inflation, job growth, the economic stability, the significance of the influence of elections outside, gerrymandering of maps to make sure that your party gets ahead. It's all those things can influence the 2026 elections. We have to be accountable for all of that. The impact of inflation. Inflation can negatively impact party voters as they associate the rise of prices with their governance. Raising prices. Inflation, I mean, think about it. Inflation has continued to grow. But one thing that anybody, any person that's within norm, and the rich have got richer, but sometimes your paycheck haven't adjusted to the inflation, the cost of inflation. And that's long term. I mean, you go out there and you're paying more for a gallon of gas, or cost of eggs, or whatever. That impacts your household. Job growth. I mean, think about it. If you're getting jobs and the only job that they want to offer you is $11 an hour to work 13 hours in the field doing the job that you had somebody that was willing to do it, but you won't let them stay in the country so they can do it, there's something wrong. I don't know what, Pastor Riggins, if you're out there and you're still able to listen in, please just log back in. I hope that I hope there's not something going on with the channel, because Glass was on here earlier and I don't see anybody on here and they just dropped in the middle of what they were saying. Maybe it's the internet or whatever, but we're going to continue moving on. Economic stability. That means that you're able to pay your bills. And if you think about it, go try to buy a house. I'm going to give you an example. Go try to buy a house right now. You ain't going to get a house that you probably could have got when you first went into your job 20, 30 years ago, because the prices of houses have tripled. They say it's a possibility that our kids will never own a house. And when they say that, it's true. They would probably never own a house because they don't make enough money to qualify for the high prices of houses. Because even if you bought a house, you got your loan money, you got your insurance, and most of the insurance here in Texas and Louisiana along the coastline is twice as high. Some places you have to have a windstorm to go with that. And the utilities continue to go up. Utilities are not set in stone. They change. If it's hot in your environment, you're going to spend extra money to pay utilities. That all plays a part in being able to own a house. You have to look at those factors. There's certain things that we need to look at as a whole, how it affects us, not how it's affecting somebody else, but how it affects us. Voter blame. Always blaming somebody else for the problem. Always blaming another party, the incumbent party, for the economic hardships and financial uncertainties. But see, the reason why I want to say that and tie that back together, because we can blame, but if we're not getting out and vote, how can you continue to blame somebody else for what's going on? Because you're not going to try to change it at midterms. You're not trying to change it at midterms. What you're doing is you're continually voting. You're blaming everybody else for your problems, but you're not trying to change it because you're not getting out and vote. We have to get out and vote. It's so key. And I'm going to keep on saying that because we don't seem like we have an understanding. That's the reason why America's in chaos. Parties destroying each other's. Parties destructing within. Parties imploding because they're more concerned about what somebody is saying versus trying to grow the party. And that's what James Carville was saying. He said, you know what? I have never been in a place where I felt like the party was self-destructing itself. What can you say? I mean, if they're self-destructing within their own party because you think, because you're younger, that I'm going to do a little bit of dialogue on James Carville. Me and Pastor talked about it earlier. I hope he can get back into the stream. I hope that it's working, because the only thing that kicked him out, I don't know if it's just this service or anything, but James Carville is 80 years old. I think he said he turned 80. What I admire about James Carville is that he's one of those Southern guys, and if you know Southern guys in Louisiana, he's from Louisiana, and he just speaks. He doesn't speak to you in a way that you can't understand. He speaks to you directly. one of the things that he said was this, and I need you to understand. He said, "I told Biden because I'm the same age. Maybe some of us are not 80 years old." He said he told Biden at the time that you shouldn't run for office. This was before he even dropped out of the election, before the debate even came up. They had a meeting and they had plans that was in place. I wish I would have, I could have dropped a link to that conversation that he had, but he said it clearly. And he says, I'm not saying you're not the perfect person at that time, but he said based on our age, I'm telling you that we shouldn't be setting ourselves because we're doomed to fail at that point. And that's exactly what he said. I want to get Byron and Pastor Riggins back in here, but I'm like I said, we come on here and we continue to move forward. Key issues shaping voters' choices. I told you I'm always ready. I'm ready for it because we have some issues that we could get out there. Emerging social issues play a big role in shaping voters' choices. The Democrats could be out there talking about Epstein. They could be firing away at full cycles, but you don't. And I'm not just talking about Democrats. It's other people. Our elected officials could take on either one of these issues that I'm sitting here showing you right now. Emerging social issues. Epstein case is a big one. It ain't like it's no secret. I mean, we're you elected in the office. You want our vote. Help us support you. Help us get you there where you want to be. Abortion rights. That we shouldn't be. Government shouldn't be involved in abortion rights. And by no shape, no form, or any fashion. That's between you, as a woman, and your body. That's between you and your body. We as a man, we should just be on the other side of that coin. But somehow, somewhere, we getting involved in it. A dominant issue impact is dominant issue. Oh, Pastor Riggins is back. Thank you. I'm glad Pastor Riggins got back in. He needs to come on his microphone and cam before we can add him to the stream, Pastor. I'm just letting you know in case you're listening out there. If you come on your microphone and your cam, I can get you back into the stream. And evidently you don't have. That's what they're telling me. The dominant issue can galvanize voters and influence the turnout. Map gerrymandering should be something that's right up there. Should just dominate. Should just dominate without a doubt. That one of the issues that we could hang our hats on because they gerrymandered the map to change the way everything is working. Climate control policy is as much as we talk about that. If we continue to go down this path, and you look at any future society in which we live in, if we destroy the climate, we destroy ourselves. And that's something that Democrats can jump on. You know, they took away electrical power, wind power. I'm trying to add you to the stage, Pastor, but I don't see a camera. I'm not seeing your camera, or I'm not seeing your microphone. I see I see where you're at, but I can't add you because I don't see a camera or a microphone. And I don't know if that's on their end or on our end. But election outcomes. If we don't get out and vote, what's supposed to change? If we don't encourage our people within our house, if we don't have those critical discussions within our house, we're not going to be able to change anything. We have to have critical discussions. And I think they allow me to add Pastor to the stage right now. So I'm trying to add him. I see his name out there, and I'm trying to get him on. There he is. There he is. And Pastor, can you just say something so I can make sure you're on? Your mic is out again. I don't know what's going on, but your mic is not working. So I don't know what happened, how you got disconnected, but your mic got removed from the chat. I got your picture, but I don't see your mic. I still don't hear it. I know you can hear me, but I can't hear you. That's the problem. But as we continue to go on this, I hope you get your mic working. I really do, because I know it's some of the stuff that you want to cover. But, you know, I have to use my aids when I don't have my help on the side. So I don't have you. Hold on just a minute, Pastor. Let me see if I can do this. Your mic is muted on your end. Unmute your mic, Pastor. Pastor, your mic is muted. It's on your end. I can't unmute it on the stage. I got access to it, but it shows your mic is muted on your end. So click your picture and just unmute your mic if you can. But anyway, we got Pastor Riggins out there, and as soon as he unmutes his mic, we're gonna bring him back into the show. Because it's showing the unmuted. There you are. Can you say something? Now? I can hear you now. Hear me? I can hear you. Yes, man, sir.
My phone got too hot and died.
That happens, Pastor. And that's the reason why we're going.
So now I'm on a tablet. The laptop mic didn't work. The phone was working. The phone got so hot, it went to emergency mode and died.
Pastor,
and I got like 5%.
Yeah, we're going to blame that on the Republicans. They don't want you on because we're talking about some pretty hot issues.
So now we're using the tablet.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Pastor. Thanks for coming back on. The election outcomes, that's a big issue because the election outcomes is based on vote. Your voice becomes your vote. And as Pastor, and you hear us always talking about, your voice becomes your vote. And if you don't allow your voice to be heard by voting, we can't continue to complain. We have to get out. The only way that we change it, even though we say that it's supposed to happen, and that goes back to what I was telling you earlier. Yeah, in the past, that's the way it happened. When a president is in office, they either lose the Senate or the House. One of them is historically has happened. But that doesn't we living in the Trump times, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen right now. Pastor, I don't know if you want to comment on that or not, or if you working out your problems. I'm ready to go to the next slide. If you don't see anything up there that you want to comment on. Go to the next slide. Okay, I'm going. Democratic challenges and opportunities. Voter frustration. I mean, if you're not putting out the message and you're not covering those things that's important to a voter, you're gonna get voter frustration. They're gonna say I'm not gonna vote. They're gonna say that I don't perceive you as actually covering the issues that I want you to cover. I mean, even as far as the dollar amount, the dollar relief, abortion protections, and environmental efforts, all of that is part of what some voters want to hear about. And if you're not covering that, you're gonna have voter frustration, Pastor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're right.
Yeah, because we can't. If we continue to allow the Republicans to beat up on us and not fight back, and then the few people that we get to stand up and say something or do something, or like Jasmine Crockett and AOC, we allow our own party to beat them down, it's something wrong. It's something definitely wrong. And it's too late to try to file for an independent party because there's some deadlines that's coming up real soon.
Right.
That hasn't been met. I mean, think about it. In the state of Louisiana, where Pastor Riggins was born and where Glass is from, they didn't declare there's only two parties out there.
Mm-hmm. The only one independent party.
Yeah, because they ain't gonna have time to run it. With Pastor, I know I went through a lot of this stuff, but I stay prepared because I don't want to get to a point where I don't have my information out there, and I want to make sure that I'm sharing the same thing. That's the reason why we're still talking about America is in chaos. And then you have to ask yourself, are we moving forward or are we going backwards? And if you can't, if you're caught in between, it's something that's wrong. And our messaging as a party, Pastor, I'll let you cover that since your mic is on. Messaging.
Yeah, man. See what I was saying earlier. If we're playing defense instead of offense, if we're looking at how can we calm everything down and hope that we can gain power that way, you got to fight fire with fire. You've got to be able to tell everybody what really is at stake. What's really at stake is our democracy. What's really at stake is the economic safety and of our communities and of our country. What's at stake is also the very fabric of the life that we have right now. That this could plummet into what's the word I'm looking for? I can't pronounce it right now. We have
Authoritarian. I know what you're saying.
government.
Those.
Speech impediment means you have a dictator, somebody who's have all complete power. Okay, and that's what Trump wants. He don't really want the Congress to do anything. He wants the Congress to rubber stamp, just like Abbott did. Abbott goes and tells the legislature in Texas what he wants, and because they run by Republicans, they rubber stamp whatever he wants. That's redistricting. 5 new districts, redistrict. They rubber stamp it, and then they want the courts to say, "Okay, y'all did right." Okay.
Yeah. And Mary Brown, I'm glad you joined the show. Sorry for getting, I get caught up in it. And since I was running it by myself, I get caught up. We're going to catch up with all our comments that's out there. Positively D says because it's not affecting his family. That's true. Mary Brown says, Mary Guillory says, Go ahead, Pastor.
Look what Positive D says.
Because it's not affecting his family.
Right. And basically that's what happens with all of the Republicans and all those upper class people.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mary Guillory Brown comes back. We have to take on all issues. That's true. We have to do that. I'm just gonna go through the notes because I've been talking and not looking at the notes, and I'm guilty of that throughout the show. And it's very important that we get you. We know we want you to engage, and thank you for engaging. And I don't want to pass it up. I'm just gonna stop the show and get all of this stuff on the air. Facts, Ron. All states have to get involved. Yeah, in this voting process, and with all the issues and messaging and all the rest of that, we're gonna have to get everybody involved. Facts, Ron, discuss it all. We got to cover it because if we don't cover it, we can't call America in chaos if we don't cover it, because the chaos sometimes is within the party, and it's also the stuff that Republicans are framing Democrats out of touch. They don't know because our party, our people are not speaking up, not saying anything. And I say our people because I refuse to just go down to a one-party system, Pastor. I refuse to. And I'm gonna let you cover this next one, Pastor. D said hello. Positively D said hello, family. One more thing. We have to vote like our lives depend on it. Pastor, I'm gonna let you cover that. That's what Positively D say. And I just need to get you.
Sir, that's someone else. Positive View Incorporated. It's someone else. It's not Positive D. That's Positive View. That's a new.
Thank you, Pastor. I'm trying to. We got some more from Positive U. I hear.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pastor.
Person, I don't know who they are, but we're glad to have them on.
Absolutely.
So now, here's the deal, and that's why I try to tell everybody: use a pseudo banner if you need to, because you never know. You can go on YouTube and all this stuff, and you never know where this goes out at. If you want to take your backside and when it was your job or the community you're in, you have to put your real name up there. Just engage. I've been trying to tell people that. Okay. So anyway, so the Positive View have said that both. So here's the deal. So we have to vote like our lives depend on it. We have to vote like our lives depend on it, because if we do not, as Barron says, and if you know, he puts himself as BG. As Barron said, he says, listen, if we don't, in 2026, if we lose, all bets are off. We're sinking into chaos. And the chaos starts right now on the ground level. All of the different cities where they're trying to send in the federal troops. Chaos is already here. Ron, we're on 8:54. Barron is not here tonight. How long you want to go? I've had a very.
We're just gonna go to about 6 more minutes, and that's it. We're shutting it down.
3 different devices to get on tonight. The laptop that wouldn't talk. The phone to crash. I do have my I'm now on my tablet, and I'm trying to charge it up as we go. And that's what took so long to get back.
We're gonna continue moving, Pastor. Don't worry about it. And the thing about it is that Republicans are trying to get swing voters, It's a lot of swing voters that's out there, and if we allow them to get those swing voters, then we going down. Our votes are not being counted. We have to continue to push to get people out to vote. I don't care how we do it. I don't care Pookie, and we always say Pookie and Sally Mae, blue and whatever other color that you decide. Then Mercedes Benz, Lexus, and all the rest of that you name your kids. If they 18, get them out to vote. Encourage them to go out and vote. If you have to take them, drag them, do whatever you have to do, fill out the registration ahead of time and get them into the voting cycle before it becomes time. If you got, what is it, a 14-year-old, a 13-year-old, or somewhere in that general area, if my mathematics, now I might have to go up a number, right, Pastor? Because we need them to be 18 years of age, and we want you to start teaching them about voting right now. So when they get to that age, they're effective in what they're effective in their communication is their understanding of voting, the importance of voting is part of what we need to be teaching, right, Pastor? I'm sorry, I'm getting tired of the words.
That's right. Yes, sir. All right. If you're 14 years old, you'll be voting in 4 years. If you're 16 years old, no, you'll be voting in 4 years. If you're 16 years old, you'll be voting in 2 years. If you're 17 years old, you vote next year. All 17-year-olds right now gonna be able to vote in 2026. But see, New Orleans is not. See, you have to understand this. Houston is in a Republican state.
Mm-hmm.
If the Republican government starts saying something wrong with Houston, then he'll come into Harris County because the Republican government is saying it. But New Orleans don't pose anything because it's not even about the crime. It's not even about the crime. It's about trying to control the mayors of those cities and control the political system of those cities. So when voting comes around, that the voting can be hampered in those cities. Voting hampered in D.C., voting hampered in Chicago, voting hampered in Philadelphia, voting hampered in these cities, Detroit, voting be hampered in those areas. So it's a false narrative anyway. It's not about crime. Voting hampered in Los Angeles. That's what he's trying to do.
Mm-hmm. And she's right. We have to be concerned first. We have to be concerned enough to get people out to vote. Mary, I appreciate that comment. And keep on bringing them because we need to get them on the air. And I apologize for not bringing the comments early. As Pastor said, we're coming up on time. So I want to make sure that we get out of here maybe within 5 minutes because Pastor has a normal job that he does. And you see the amount of effort that he went in to get back on the show. So I just want, Mary got one more comment and then I'm going to get into the rest of this. And we're going to try to close this out real soon with Pastor's prayer. It's about control, Mary. You're absolutely right. It's always about control with the GOP. And here's the thing. Abortion rights. We done covered that so much. Republican extremism. Show how far the GOP nominees alienate modern voters. Extremist views. Policies can turn off centralist voters, leading to them supporting more moderate Democrats, alternative enhancing Democrat. I can't get that last part out, but counterfactors that could help Democrats. These are all positive things. Senate seats. Mention the Senate seats, not noting that Democrats have to defend their seats in the red states while they could gain more purple states. They could gain in purple states. The ability for the party to complete in diverse states shows potential areas of growth for candidates. But if you're going out there and you spending $20 million because you don't like the way a person voices their opinion within your party, doesn't that take away from what I just said?
Yes, sir. You friendly fire, cutting off your nose, spite your face. You stabbing yourself in the back.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go with this. Early projections, analyzing that. I don't know if I'm gonna focus on this, but I want to go here, Pastor, and then we're gonna say a prayer and we're gonna get out of here within 5 minutes. I promise you. What is the goal for the Democrats according to the strategy imperatives? The primary goal is defeating the GOP candidates. I mean, that's a basic principle that we should be going by. All of the other stuff that we've been talking about doesn't make any sense. If we're not in this to defeat Republican candidates, there's something wrong. I'm gonna go to the next. I'm gonna do 3 and then we out of here. What are the internal risks that threatens Democrats' unity in their efforts to defeat Republicans? We just say the past internal divisions such as primary challenges and fundraising conflicts risk the undermining of unity. That party is doomed if they can't get this part right. And most of this came from that discussion that was with James Carnival and David Hodge. It shows you how far off David Hodge is, the number 3 in the Democratic Party or something. A Democrat. I'm gonna get his name and I'm gonna tell you. What example illustrates the criticism within the Democratic Party regarding to the resources spending in poor. James Carnival's criticism of David Hodge $2.5 billion spent with Democrats underperforming illustrates the criticism. Pastor, I'm gonna let you comment, and when you get through comment, just go ahead and get us out of here.
Well, here's the problem. They got the wrong focus. The focus needs to be squarely on 2 things: flip the Congress and shut Trump down. Flip the Congress and shut Trump down. You get the comment, they're calling about Trump wants to control the cities. Wake up, Democrats. But see, that's the only part of the problem. See, also that's a distraction. Let me tell you something else. That's also a distraction from the Epstein files.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a distraction from that he's been buying stock. Buying a bonds. Inside trading on bonds since he became president. Okay? So, this stuff about stopping crime, all the crime is down in all these cities, but he's the criminal. We have to focus on flipping the Congress and stopping Trump.
Mm-hmm.
This has been two years of the mic. My mic ain't been working right tonight, but I'm here. I got to bring my laptop in and find out why the mic don't work. Got to get another iPhone next couple of months. That iPhone, it got so hot, it shut down. The red temperature came on that thing. Phone shutting down, too hot. But I'm glad I had a backup. The third thing I chose I had was this tablet, and we're here tonight. Baron Glass came in for a while, and maybe his iPhone shut down. Something shut down on him too. I don't know, but he had to go. And he was here contributing full force, and all of a sudden he left. Ron, we thank you for all the effort you do, all the hard work you do, and making this happen. Thank you for all those involved themselves, talking to us, interacting, making comments. We got to keep the pedal to the metal, as they say, and keep it going. We thank God for this opportunity to share. He's given us our life, our breath, our health. He's given us the motivation to want to be involved, to impact our community, our city, and our world. And Father, we praise your name for this. We know that without you, we can do nothing. But with you, we can do all things if we only believe. And we know that you more than just inside of a church house building or within a church doctrine or the theology of domination. But you everywhere. The earth is the Lord's and fullness thereof. And everywhere your glory can be seen. And even in political uproar and chaos, and whatever's going on in America right now, you're still in control. So lead this platform, but not your presence. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I'm gonna say amen and thank God. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. And Baron Glass, I know that you probably had the same difficulties that Pastor Riggins, or close to it, or you got involved. And I want to say, before I go, I want to say thank you, Mary. Praise God, because if it wasn't for God, we'd be in a world of hurt. We have some examples of stuff that's going on right now, but it doesn't mean that it's going to happen, because I'm going to tell you, prayer changes things. Prayer changes things. I'm a firm believer in prayer, and I know Pastor is too. So with that being said, we're not going over, and I'm keeping my word, Pastor. We ran over 5 minutes, and the prayer has been said, and we're out of here. And I'm going to tell y'all, please go out and vote. And vote. Encourage people within your family, whoever you talk to, encourage them to go out and vote in this next election cycle, because we're going to continue to talk about this next election cycle. Everything else is not important. We need to encourage the vote. Pastor, you got something that you're supposed to do in a couple of weeks, and I know we put it off. I don't know if you're ready for it or not, but that's one of the things I want to do. But we need to continue where we at. And Mary, thank you, and we out of here. Good night, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you was informed. I hope that there's something that you can go out there and research and verify if we're on the right path or not. If we're not, let us know. Come into the comments. But most of all, like Mary Guillory, and I'm gonna close out with vote, vote, vote.